Let's do another top 5 video. Let's go. Hello, YouTube. Axie Man here once again. And let's get back into this whole top 5 thing that I started quite a few, months now at this point. And in this one, as the title read, I am going to do my favorite comic book character logos. Now, a logo is very specific because you have to remember not everybody wears a logo. And then some of them are not what you'd think. Let me give you guys an example real quick. Captain America. The Captain America logo, technically, when you look, is the big white star, but you associate the shield, but the shield's not really his logo. The logo he wears in his uniform is a big white star. He's all star spangled, right? But I would consider that star his logo, not necessarily the shield. That's an arguable point, but I'm talking specifically about a logo that a character consistently wears. So I hope that made a little bit of sense. And as I get into my top 5, hopefully those make more sense as I go along. But let's get into the first one. Number 5 on my list is Green Lantern. The Green Lantern, a logo that every Green Lantern Corps member wears, is the Green Lantern itself. In the Ryan Reynolds movie, I know not a lot of people liked it. I think it's okay. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but I'm a little bit more forgiving on a lot of things. And when it comes to other properties, I'm a lot less forgiving. So I'm probably a bad judge of that movie when it comes to DC characters, but I've always loved the logo. And maybe I'm a little bit biased about the movie because I love the way it glowed. But just a simplistic term, and the fact that the entire Green Lantern Corps wears that on their chest as a form of solidarity, the space cops, I guess, if you will. That logo is so iconic. It's just, and it's simple to the point where it's just a lantern. But again, I think the bigger reason why I like it is because the entire Corps wears it and it's uniform. Maybe that's a little bit of the Army coming out in me as an Army vet, but I love that logo. Let's go to the next one. Number 4 on my list, and as always, these are not in particular order. I like them all equally to a certain extent because there's so many variables that each one has. But number 4 is going to be the Punisher. What an obvious one, right? What's not to like? Just that skull is so iconic. I know recently, and in the recent Daredevil show as well, people sometimes use it to do bad things. But you know what? Whether it's real life or whether it's in the show, F those people. Frank Castle's The Punisher has a very specific code, has a very specific reason why he does the things. And I'm not saying that he's a hero. I mean, as a matter of fact, he's an anti-hero by all means, if you've read his comic books. And sometimes he's a downright villain. so much so that in the Civil War comic book, after he killed some villains just in cold blood, he gets knocked the F out by Steve Rogers for being an a-hole. So sometimes he could even be considered a villain, but I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about the logo once again. That Punisher logo is so iconic at this point, whether you're talking about John Bernthal, whether you're talking about the movies, or just the comics themselves. So much so that it's so iconic that they had to change it in the real world because of the real world happenings. That's a whole story. Look into it, where they had to change the Punisher logo to something else. A little bit of a fiasco, if you ask me, but that's comic books. That's comics, baby. Things are constantly changing, and sometimes they have to change, for better or for worse. Sometimes there's a necessity. And because of the change, when they get back to the original logo, whether it's just by just doing it or reincorporating it into a comic book story, it's all the better. So that's my number 4. Let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is a very simple logo. It's right behind me, ladies and gentlemen. It is the X-Men logo. Because no matter what iteration of the X-Men, no matter what artist, no matter who's writing, it's the circle with the X. and that changes colors. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes the color scheme changes, black and red, black and yellow, and it goes through variations, but it's always technically the same. It's just a simple X, that X logo from, Cyclops touching, as a comlink, from belt buckles to, X's on capes. Just everyone wears it. All the X-Men have worn it throughout the years. Wolverine has a belt buckle with an X on his classic uniform. I mean, that X symbol. Obviously, I'm an X-Men fan, so it's gonna be on this list. I love the X-Men symbol. Let's go on to number two. Number two on my list is not technically a logo that's worn all the time, but definitely part of the character. And now it's going to be the symbol for the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. That is Hellboy's, the company, the government agency that he works for. Hellboy himself, he wears, it's the hand holding the sword at an angle. You can see it here. I'm going to post it here. And I love that logo. I have quite a few shirts with that logo. I don't wear them often enough as I should, but I do actually, just not on the channel. I'm a huge Hellboy fan. He's one of my favorite comic book characters, and he does wear, depending on the iteration. Sometimes you can see it on the belt buckle in the film, the Hellboy films. You definitely see it on the belt buckle, but in the comics, usually it's on his trench coat. Right, it's on the left side of his trench coat, and it's the symbol for the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, the BPRD. So that's number two. Let's go on to my number one. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm gonna cheat on this one. I have to cheat because you can't differentiate one and the other when it comes to these logos. You got Superman and you got Batman. I mean, these are the staples not only of DC Comics, but I would argue of comic books themselves, comic book characters. I mean, you got Superman, the first superhero in comic books ever. That star. What is more iconic? And not just because it's iconic. I love that symbol. It's so cool. And the fact that different artists and also different movie makers and television writers, they create the symbol in different ways, but always looks the same, from Zack Snyder to now James Gunn, I mean, the list goes on, right? Those are just the two most recent. And of course, Batman. How many iterations of the bat symbol have there been? And they're all cool, in my opinion. I don't care if it's Adam West, I don't care if it's Christian Bale's or Michael Keaton's or whoever it is, from the animated series all the way to the original, 1939 Batman release. I mean, it's Batman. It's the bat symbol. I mean, he wears it, the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, right, with the yellow. How cool was that when that came out? I watched Batman at the drive-in theater. Before there, we used to go inside movie theaters with a nice seat. So, what is more iconic than these two, pivotal characters of comic books, right? So, that's a tie for me. There's no way to break them apart, in my opinion. I mean, this is just my top five, ladies and gents, but I could not, in good conscience, break these two apart. It's Batman, Superman, the symbols. You gotta love them. You gotta love them. That's it for this video of my top five. Let me know in the description below. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, all that jazz. But more importantly, let me know in the comment section below, what are your top five? And remember, it's logos. They have to wear them. I guess one of the honorable mentions I will throw is Spider-Man. But you see, the Spider-Man logo, I know you guys are gonna yell blasphemy. It's not iconic enough. A more honorable mention actually would be the Venom logo. But you see, that's part of his symbiote. But I would consider that a logo. I would consider that logo. But you can see where you can fluctuate with your definition of logo as opposed to just a symbol of the character. For example, Iron Man is another one, right? His logo is the arc reactor, but that's not really what. It's just part of his. But can you consider that a logo? Sure, because it's always part of his Iron Man suit, right? So there's arguments that can be made to any of these lists technically. So let me know, what are your are you with me as to what is considered a logo, or just let me know what your favorite comic book character logos are. You'll notice that I threw in an indie comic, Hellboy. Doesn't always have to be the big two, Marvel, DC, although I do gravitate towards those most of the time. You don't necessarily have to. I mean, Invincible comic book is filled with really cool logos. But none of them would be in my top five as these are the ones I just mentioned. Because obviously I can make a top 10, top 25, and they would definitely, a lot of them would definitely be in there. But let me know your thoughts. As always, collect what you love what you collect. I'll see you guys in the next one.